got your attention now? Hands up!
You're rocking with the best.
You are now tuned in. Rock it out with the Say More podcast with Sylvia Darlene, Sadie B, and Tamaya Allen. Music, entertainment, life. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? This is Say More podcast. I'm your host, Sylvia Darlene.
It's Super Bowl Sunday, baby. You already
know
know what
what?
it is. Big Draco Brady, baby.
Oh my God! Okay. So what's going on, co-host? How y'all doing?
What's
going
up?
on?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hello.
Big Draco Brady!
Oh my gosh. So I got a special guest in the building, okay? What up, Kat?
What up, Snabuki?
Now y'all know this is my older sister.
Can't y'all tell the resemblance?
I like how you just really went smoothly past that Snabuki.
You know what? That
You know, a little family name. You know it ain't real unless she got a little family
don't
name.
be calling me that after the show, y'all.
I'm gonna definitely save your name as Snabuki.
You're gonna always be Snabuki.
Oh my gosh. I would tell you how I got that name, but anyways, so it's Super Bowl Sunday. So who you
Big Draco Brady.
We know who his favorite team is.
We know who his favorite team is, but I am Giants.
Did you make it to the playoffs?
No, we didn't. But
we're not talking about it. We're talking about the Super Bowl.
But I always want to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, though.
Yes.
Did they make it to the Super Bowl?
I can do that kick.
I had to watch so much of that reality show
like
of the
that
Dallas
show.
Cowboys.
I love it, y'all.
Turn it off, please. I get it.
But I was a dancer growing up, you guys. Like, nobody knows. Fun fact, I was a dancer.
You should have won to dance with the Patriots.
They were boring. Like, no.
You can't be boring with all these ships and 3 years back to back in the Super Bowl.
Here we go.
Somebody, can you mention who your favorite
Super
team
Bowls.
I mean, my favorite team didn't make it, but it's the Bengals. But I don't want to hear.
The who?
I don't want to hear you guys bash anyone. That's why I didn't say anything.
I'm about to bash you because you know what? You said it right. The Bengals when it's the Bengals, but it's the Bengals.
But then I heard somebody in the background behind the scenes love the Pretty Boy Steelers.
The Lil Pit? That's what I call them.
Steelers are good.
If you're a Steelers fan,
Hey, guess what? Hey.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
If you're
go
a
ahead.
Steelers fan, you are a pretty boy, light skinned boys.
Lil Pit.
You so stupid.
Y'all was hoping for another team to get y'all in the playoffs. Lil Pit. Sorry.
We'll talk jump when the basketball season come. No, how about that?
LeBron James.
Yeah, I'm a
Lake Show.
Yes.
Y'all sound like some
But y'all know
bandwagoners.
Tamaya used to play ball too now. So Tamaya, who your team?
Oh my gosh, I don't have a favorite basketball team. Just because I play basketball doesn't mean
Nah,
I have to have
but
a favorite
I
team.
feel you on that. See, right
That's
now,
true.
like me, even for a while, I never had a favorite basketball team. I had favorite players, but I always rooted for the Hornets when I was young because they was closer. You know, Carolina.
I was just about to say because they close.
Yeah, but I never really had a favorite basketball team.
Yo, Tamaya is not fun to play basketball with. I'm gonna tell you that now. She'll make you cry.
That
Don't
means she
play
good,
one-on-one.
yeah.
Let's not even talk about fun with basketball.
Yeah.
I remember when I wanted to join the basketball team and we had to play against each other and Sylvia beat me. This girl did not care about basketball at all, y'all. I
did it. I was just good.
I was going through.
I can't see you playing
I
basketball.
was going through.
Yo.
In the 8th grade, I thought I was going to be Monica from Love and Basketball. I had my cousin taking me to the gym, and he said, your sister got to play one-on-one. I was like, this is easy. Sylvia did not care and was just straight beating me, and I swear I went home and wanted to beat her up like, no, you did not beat me. You don't even care about
So
this game.
competitive you was, okay?
Just hitting you with that Pistons defense.
Oh, my God. Right. So, yes, we're going to switch gears. So, I have my sister here today, and this is going to be probably one of my favorite episodes because we finally get to tell our story. Now, earlier this week, I had tagged my sister in an Instagram post, and it put me to tears, and I'm pretty sure I know it put you to tears, too. So, Kat, I would just want you to tell me, give me a little bit of insight. How did you feel when you saw that tag that I tagged you in on Instagram this week?
Yeah. Before I get started, I just want to say congratulations on this new venture, Sylvia. I really never thought of seeing you do this, but I'm so happy to see you being a voice out here and talking about different subjects because, girl, we know you love to talk.
Right.
That's what I'm talking. And I also want to say congratulations to Seti and Tamaya. Seti, I've been knowing you since high school.
Long time.
Yes. I'm happy for you with all the hosting and the parties that you're still doing and actually working with my sister. We all go way back. And Tamaya, I'm happy for you. You're getting your modeling on. Miss Tyra Banks over here. Keep doing your thing, girl. Keep doing your thing. You're beautiful.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
But yes, back to
Thank you, by the way, too.
Most definitely appreciate that.
the subject that Sylvia you were bringing up about the video. You tagged me in a video with Ellen DeGeneres, which I do love her. It was a video of her actually coming out about her sexuality, and I remember in the clip she was talking about how when she came out to her family, I can't remember if they said it, she said it was her sisters or if it was her nieces, but it was 2 little girls in her family, and her family told her that she wasn't allowed to be around them, and she got kicked out her house.
They were actually her stepsisters because it was her father and her stepmother that said that she was not allowed to live with them in that household because of the same sex.
That's crazy. But I get it because it's back in the day.
Yeah. Ellen DeGeneres is like in her 50s, so it was very old
That was
school.
a taboo, you know?
Yeah, that was a no. But I didn't mean to cut you off, Kat. Tell me how did you feel and the meaning behind that?
Watching the clip, I felt bad because, you know, it hits home for us. The reason why we're having this conversation now is because, you know, our mother is a lesbian. So, you know, seeing that she wasn't allowed to be around her younger siblings because of her sexuality, I mean, even before she even came out about that, I'm pretty sure they always looked at her as a good person. But all of a sudden, it's like when she came out to show her truth, all of a sudden now you can't be around them. And throughout our whole life, I always felt like me and Sylvia had to always hide our mother.
Yeah.
And we had to always be secretive because she always worried about protecting us, which any parent does. But now that we're in the 2010s, same-sex marriage is legal.
Yeah.
About time.
Yes.
And, you know, I came to my sister and I said, you know what, with this podcast, we always hear about the LGBTQ community. They talk about their experiences. But what about the experiences of the children of those individuals? We don't really hear much about them. And I felt like, you know, this was a time that we should talk about it and talk about, you know, our livelihood and how we grew up around it. And, you know, maybe this can help other kids out there who have parents that are part of the LGBTQ community to feel comfortable to, you know, accept their parents' truth, or even, you know, not let society bother them like it didn't bother us.
Yeah, it definitely did not bother us growing up because what was the age, Kat, that Mom wound up expressing and finally told us the truth about her sexuality?
We were about 10 and 11 years old. I remember our mother, she said, I have to talk to you girls. And I remember I was like, what about now? Like, what do we have to talk about now? What do we do?
Are we in trouble?
Right. So I remember she said to us, she said, do you know who me and my significant other are? And I said, yeah, y'all lesbians. And she was shocked. She just gave me that look like, how do you know that? Because my mother always sheltered us, and she didn't want us to know certain things before we needed to know. She wanted us to be children, which we should have.
Right.
And I said, TV, Mommy. I watch TV all the time. Like, I learned from TV.
And keep in mind, our mom was a very diverse mom. Our mom's Caribbean, too. And she has 7 sisters, and she's the only lesbian out of all 7 of her sisters. And she kept us sheltered a little bit, but we had like a collection of movies, and TV was our life. But TV taught us a lot of things, and one thing about that's how we knew our mom was a lesbian, because it was out there on TV. Trust me and Kay used to sneak those rated R shows and stuff. So yeah, but you know, it wasn't shocking to us, and we was kind of relieved. We was very young, but our mom was finally having that conversation with us. But I always accepted my mom, and I know it was hard on her, especially when we was in high school, because she still kind of hide her sexuality. Like when she go to PTA meetings, me and Kat was in cheerleading too. We had a lot of competitions. It would just be her, not her significant other. Not only that, we grew up with her significant other. They had children and stuff like that, and we all went to the same schools and stuff like that.
Nobody never knew.
And nobody knew.
They would know that we were step siblings, but they never knew how.
They never
we would
knew
lie
how.
and say, "Oh, their father and our mother's married."
Yes, we lied. We capped.
As they call it now.
Yeah, that's what they call it now. We capped a lot because it's not because we wanted to, it's because we had to. Because out of respect for our mom. Because I damn sure didn't want to come home getting an ass whooping, to be honest.
But now, you know, what is the difference? Why are you guys speaking up about this? What is the main purpose that you want people to know that it's okay?
Right. When I started wanting to talk more about it was when I got to college, and you know, we were making a lot of friends, and you know, a lot of friends wanted to come to our house, and I just made that decision, like, you know what, I'm just gonna have to disclose this information to people because I don't want to hang around nobody who has anything against the LGBTQ community. So I would ask my friend, they would say, you know, I want to come to your house and meet your mom and stuff, and I said, well, I'm gonna let you know this. Do you have a problem with gay people? Then I would go into, my mother's a lesbian, is that an issue? Because if that is an issue, we can't be friends.
Exactly.
It was one of those things that I wasn't going to sit here.
You ain't meant to be my friend, bro.
Hide that anymore because we got tired after a while. And then when Sylvia came to me about doing the podcast, that was the first thing that came to my mind because that's something that we never hear people talk about. And now that we are now showcasing that on TV, we're seeing more images of the LGBTQ community, why not hear from two young girls who grew up in that environment? Nobody never knew because we kept it to ourselves for our mother's sake, and who are very successful because a lot of people have a lot of negativity to say about kids who grow up in that environment. And we're full of proof that, one, we're both heterosexual females, and that's our choice. That's not something that we were like, you know, we don't want to be like our mom. No, that was our choice. That was our choice.
Even though our mom would not accept it, she'd tell you flat out, no, my daughter, I'm not accepting that. That's our choice.
And it was only because she didn't want society to bash us.
Right.
She didn't want her kids to go through what she had to do. It's not because she was being a hypocrite. She was not going to allow society to hurt her kids.
Right. And not only that, too, how my mother was raised growing up, too, as well, my mom's childhood was another reason being why my mom was a lesbian too. That plays a part in it. And that's another thing too, is your childhood.
Most definitely.
And me and Kat's childhood was wonderful. I learned a lot from my mom, and I learned a lot from the LGBT community. It showed me to love everybody, accept everybody for who they are. That's why when I made this platform, say more, live more, do more, no exemptions. Because if you got a story, come on here to tell. So now I'm going to tell my story about my mom being the same sex and how I was raised like that. My father was always in our lives. And, you know, the fact that my father and my mom are best friends, he supports my mom 100%. And I'm just saying, like, it's a blessing to have that.
No, most definitely. It definitely is.
I'm not even going to lie. And it's crazy how I waited after almost 27 years to really express and talk about it. If you're close to me, most people know how I feel. Let me be honest. But to put it out there on my platform and to put it out there to the world, this is a big risk, and I'm willing to take it because it's a message that needs to be sent across. Because I see so much hate, so much bashing. It's really bad. It's really, 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 really bad. And especially in this transgender, a lot of things that I'm seeing is very hurtful. And for women like me and my sister being the same sex, not being the same sex, but came from a same-sex mom, we need to defend them. They need to have a hero, and that's what me and her here for.
Because I was still brought up how you need to be brought up. The same way if it was a mother and a father, but it was same sex.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
piggybacking off of when Tamaya asked us, Sylvia asked us about, when our mother came out to us, before we decided to do this podcast, I wanted to talk to my mother about it first because I want her to always know her feelings are first. And, I wanted her to make sure she was okay. And we talked about that conversation we had when we was younger, and she said to me that she thought my response to her about how I had no problem with it because I have 2 mommies and I'm okay, she thought that I just said that to protect her. And after all this time, I was able to let her know that I really felt that way. Like, I really was okay. And at that young age, the only thing that was on my mind was that I love my mother. How can I hate her? She's not doing anything wrong. We were living the best of our lives. We always had food, shelter. Her significant others, they never did anything wrong to us. So we were protected. There was nothing wrong. It was just as if like you had a stepdad in your home, or if you lived in a 2-parent household, it was normal for us. I felt in my eyes was lucky we had 2 mommies and our dad was able to be in our life. I thought I was better than other kids. Like, you have 1 mom, you have dad, I got 2. Okay?
Yeah.
And I felt good to express to her that was really how I felt, and she felt comfortable with us to bring this because she now knows that she did her job as a mom.
I have a question. You know, with this going on with the young kids, how do you explain that to the younger kids, like the younger ones in school, about LGBTQ community and transgender? How do you have that conversation with them? I mean, Seti, you're a parent. Like, have you had that conversation?
I haven't had that conversation with my son, to be honest. But the one thing I teach my son is to respect people, regardless. You know what I'm saying? You got to be you. Don't never knock anybody for who they are and what they're doing. You know, because that's them, and this is you. If they're happy and they ain't doing no wrong to you, there's no reason to have any hate towards them.
Right. Yeah.
Period. You know, because I mean, in life, period, even with raising kids, you never know how your child's going to turn out.
Right.
You really don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
you
a
have
clean
to.
slate.
Yeah, you have to train them up to be how you want them to be. But you know, once they're grown, they're gonna be whoever. But you got to just hit the morals and the rules of life that they really need to live by, so they can just be a good human.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, just a good human.
You are absolutely right. Now, honestly, and this is just my opinion, I don't feel like the younger kids, like talking to the kids in high school, because I came out about my mom being the same sex. I had the confidence and courage when I was in college. Because, like we stated, our mom sheltered us when we was in high school to make sure that we don't tell her business. Do not tell my business, because I didn't want to get that ass whooping.
Yeah.
So that wasn't our place.
Yeah.
The code that we ran by our mom: don't tell my business.
Yeah.
Don't tell my business. And it makes sense now. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. It's not for us to be ashamed of her, but it makes sense that, you know what I'm saying, what society
Yeah, because of the
deals with.
times. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I could say this too. What if there's a child that has a father and a mother that live in a household, but the father beats the mom? Don't tell my business. Yeah. It's kind of like, and it's different, but it's kind of like somewhere similar.
Yeah, because how society gonna look at it.
How society gonna look at it. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, my advice, because my sister Kat, and I'm gonna let her explain this, is going to be an activist on this. And my advice is to be who you are and don't let society tell you what you be. And that's what made me come out with Tomboys Are Dope. Because Tomboys Are Dope is the meaning behind all of this. So, yeah. My brand is not a fashion brand, it's a movement. And a lot of it has to deal with that. A lot of it has to pertain to this. Because, it's very tough. It's very tough because what I'm seeing now is just like, it's just so hard. And the youth that are in the same boat as me and my sister need us right now.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all mindset that young and accepting that, and y'all didn't let that stop y'all from being y'all personally. Forget the outside world.
Yeah.
Inside. You know what I'm saying? Y'all mindset, that's how you know your mother did what she needed to do, because she had y'all the way y'all needed to be to handle that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, even a quick question for y'all, do you think it's, back when y'all had to deal with it, you think it's harder for y'all when back then, because society didn't accept it at all? But now, it's accepted, but we have social media.
Right.
So now the hate and the slant, all that can be showcased. Now, before, you know, it had to be personal. They had to be around you.
They
You
had
had
to
to hear
know
it,
you.
see
They had
it,
to see you.
see it.
Be
You
able
know
to
what
call
I'm saying?
you, send you
Now
a
you
text.
can just go on Instagram and just easily see somebody
A
bashing.
couple hundred people just
Yeah,
going
like,
in.
you know.
That's such a good question.
Very good question, said.
You know, I feel bad about the kids that have to deal with the social media area.
I
We're
do
lucky
too.
not to deal with it because, you know, cyberbullying is a serious thing.
Oh,
and,
God.
you know, growing up, we got bullied in our face.
Yeah, we
you
got bullied in our
You know,
face.
it's one of those things that, you know, kids are affected by cyberbullying by people they'll never meet, but it's that psychological thing. It's that mental abuse that you get from people. Like, even if I'm never going to meet them, this is what somebody thinks about me. So with us, our mother never showcased affection with her significant other in public.
Yeah.
They've never held hands in public. I've never seen my mother kiss any of her significant others. And, you know, it was one of those things that,
That's
you know,
crazy.
what happens in our house is our house. But, you know, how would you feel, you know, you're in a relationship with somebody and you can't even hold their hands in public? Or when you go to a restaurant, you don't even want to even look as if like you're interested because
can't
you're
really show
afraid
your
of
love
what
and your
people are going to
affection.
say to you, especially when you have children. And that's another thing too. I think another thing that my mother was afraid about, you know, you don't want nobody trying to take your kids from you. And at the same time, back then, that was like a taboo thing. So she also had to worry about, okay, if they know my lifestyle, are they going to try to take my kids away from me? Are they going to say I'm a bad parent because this is my lifestyle? You know, to this day, I understand why she did what she did, but...
Because we saw that growing up.
Yeah.
If anything, me and Kat saw that growing up because that was a serious thing. Society back in the day will take you if you was in the same sex household. And we saw it firsthand, and that's the reason being why my mom did what she did. My mom sacrificed her own relationship for her children.
Yeah.
But it was worth it, of course, you know, because we heard her inhale, exhale, like she always tell us. But, you know, we learned a lot, too.
And it was a long time coming. Like I said, just about 60, 70 years ago, the law was passed for interracial couples to be able to get married thanks to the loving couple. And, you know, now that the law passed for same sex, I feel like that's a long time coming. And we're actually in a generation to, you know, witness that. And I think it's time for society to start being open-minded.
Right. I was just about to say that. Society.
Yeah, well, I mean, one
Change.
thing I will say, though, like, nowadays, it's accepted way more than it was back in the day, even with social media, because you can go to social media and see a lot of people that is accepted, you know what I'm saying, all over, but you still have that hate part that now you can see. It got its pros and cons with social media.
Yeah.
Like, even with this platform, of y'all being able to talk, back in the day, they didn't have this.
Yeah.
So when people...
Ellen DeGeneres, for prime example, she got
most
her
definitely.
show canceled because she was a lesbian. And, you know, it took her a while to get that comeback. But you want to know something, though? She stayed true to herself, and Obama acknowledged her for that at his campaign.
Which I loved that because,
I remember.
you know, I don't know if you guys know that a lot of our children die behind this.
Yeah.
When they're not accepted by their parents.
Do you know the stats of suicide for same sex?
No.
2.35 in countries because they're not accepted by their family because they're afraid to come back. They're afraid to come out to their parents about who they are, and they're not accepted at all. Do you know you're hurting the child?
Yeah.
You're hurting the child because at the end of the day, it might be hard for you to accept it in the beginning, but don't hurt them don't push them to society.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw a lot.
Yeah, and that's one thing with me when it comes with social media, that nobody never thinks about the kids in any situation. Even if that parent, you know, got something going on, nobody never sit there and go and be like, you know what, let me not say this or come at them like that.
Or post this, or show
Because the thing with it is nowadays is that you can go back and see it. See, before if somebody said it, you didn't hear it again.
Right.
Now you can go back and see it.
And
You know,
rewind
like
it.
now your kids can go and Google.
Right.
You know, you might have been showing this to your kids, you know, the whole time that you was raising them, they probably didn't think you was doing nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Or didn't even know nothing you was doing. But they got Google.
Once it hits that black web, it's a wrap.
It is a wrap.
Once it hits that web, it's a wrap.
Right. And it's like even when I was in college, you know, when you're in college, you meet so many different people and, you know, you talk and get to know people. And I remember every time we would get on the subject about, you know, the LGBTQ community and, you know, some of the opinions that I used to hear from men was just mind-boggling to me. And I'm one of those people that, you know, I want to know why. Not saying I'm trying to change your views because you're entitled to how you feel, but why, you know? And then when, you know, I will come out and tell them, well, I grew up in that lifestyle. Would you still not consider me your friend because I grew up in that type of environment? And I'm not saying that you're not wrong for how you feel, but if it's not a substantial reason, and it always kills me when people go back to the Bible. We all here commit sins. We all commit sins. And I would never look at my mom as an abomination. Never in my life. I don't care what nobody has to say.
Right.
My mom is one of God's kids, just like the rest of us. And didn't he make us all in his image? Mm-hmm. And that's another thing about with our mom's lifestyle. It taught us unconditional love. Yeah. Because at that age of 10 years old, I didn't think nothing about that conversation. I didn't even understand why that conversation was serious for her to have.
Or even brought up.
Or even brought up. Now that I'm a grown-up, I was like, why are we even having this? Because it's not like I looked at like this is normal, like two women together. It was just like, that's your business. You're happy. I'm happy. Why are we talking about this, right? And now that I'm older, it was like,
what are you doing to hurting me? You're not hurting me for you being in the same sex relationship. You're not hurting me. What's the problem?
Yeah, she had to have that because society. Yeah, we were getting in the age where you're gonna hear things.
And then she's Caribbean too, as well. So that wasn't really accepting in her culture, her nationality as well.
Yeah, that's when you just said that about, you know, people, how they was raised. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm an example. Yeah. I never hated anybody that was gay, but how I was raised, you know, even when I was in high school, you know, if you had a rainbow belt on, you know, we just ain't deal with you. But I had, it was, you know what I'm saying, gay people that I was cool with when we was in school. Right. When I was in high school, the dude named Shamar. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't treat him no different, and he didn't treat us no different. We saw us, he dapped us up regular, you know what I'm saying? And even Zoe Dupree.
That's my cousin.
I went to college with him. Yeah. That's my that is a good dude. That's my dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Very well respected.
Yeah, well respected. You know what I'm saying?
And you know how good that makes them feel? That you're looking at them as a person rather than what their personal business is. Yeah. And that's what I kind of like want this platform to be about. You're entitled to your own opinion, but, you know, we all, as a black community, always talking about, you know, this is a racist country, blah, 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 blah. But we are a very homophobic group of people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, some of the things that I see online, when I tell you that, it makes me so mad that I have to turn it off because you never know who's reading this and who it's affecting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, how are we going to get mad and talk about us being, you know, hated against, and you know that's not right. But why are we hating against one group of people for who they love?
Mm-hmm. People like to choose what they want unity to be about.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right there.
Exactly.
Instead of just showing love.
Exactly.
Just show love.
And that's how I look at it. I'm all for love. As long as it's not an animal or a child, I mean, that's just how I feel.
This is your girl, Tamaya Allen, and you're tuned in to the Say More podcast.
Who do y'all see? You know, because y'all been dealing with this y'all whole life, really. Who do y'all see the hate come from more? Is it women or men? I'm only asking this because when I grew up, and even people that's listening, dudes-wise, you never really got upset when you seen girls was gay.
Right. You gotta get on that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You never got upset about that. You didn't be like, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So who did, like, you know, for y'all, like, you know, being in that situation, you know, who did y'all see the hate from the most?
It was always men.
It was men.
And
it was men.
And you know, sometimes it's just one of those things like, why? He a sissy. He a punk. No, I bet you if it came down to if you went toe to toe, he probably beat your behind.
I know some that'd be like that.
You know? I know so. And my thing is that that's like, you know, with you being heterosexual, oh, you weak because you didn't try it, you know? I'm just saying, but at the same time, how can you sit here and stereotype a certain group of people, but you hate when somebody stereotype you as being a thug?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's why I said that.
Take a look at your
that's
own
hypocritical.
self.
Yeah,
That's
it's
hypocritical.
hypocritical. And you know, when it comes, and I'm telling you, because how everything's going right now in this country, it's hard for one to be having discussions like this online, because people gonna always throw back that racism, racism. Yes, that's happening, but can we get our own community together first?
Yeah.
Let's start with loving each other entirely, and that starts with accepting our LGBTQ community.
Yeah. Like my grandma taught me a long time ago. Sweep your own front porch for you try to tell somebody to sweep theirs.
Because I bet you when we go to them pearly gates, God ain't gonna be like, you gotta get out of here. But then you come up here, you had your child out of wedlock, he ain't turning you away. And we accept you because why? You looked at your baby as a blessing, correct? And why can't we accept our brother over here? All he doing is trying to be in love like the rest of us heterosexual relationships. So that's why, like, you know, that's why I say, like, when we talked about doing this podcast, like, it really, really, I was so, like, pulling tack, because I know people may get upset with what I have to say, but it's true.
She confirmed with me too. It was like, what are some limitations that you don't allow on your podcast? I said, what do you mean? There ain't no limitations.
Yeah. Say more.
So,
it's even knowing y'all for all these years. This is my first day knowing.
Right, we've known you since high school. You've been in our house, everything. So it's just like, you know.
And I never knew it.
It
that's
just shows you. You never know how someone is living.
That was the family code in our house. You don't tell my business about my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So another thing too with this subject, and this also deals with this too, mental health and depression. I could say my mom was probably in some situations like that too. I have myself suffered depression for 2.5 years, and I've just came out of it. And things like this through society and what's told on social media is what causes mental health. My own radio man, Charlamagne the God, spoke on it. Did you watch it? Did you watch it? What did you take from it, said?
Mental health is serious.
It's very, very serious.
And
It's
everybody
serious.
suffers
but
from it.
That's one thing that I do like about social media, because it gives people the opportunity to speak. And, you know, on stuff that we normally don't speak about. It's a lot of people that's hurting in these situations that don't get, nobody understands it because we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 'cause I listen to him a lot, and, you know.
And I never knew that he was suffering mental illness. Like, when I look at Charlamagne on, you know, The Breakfast Club, like, man, yo, he dope.
You'll never
dope.
know,
You know,
though.
he
You'll never
dope.
know.
But, you know, I was in the same boat. I would be on social media, you know, taking pictures, you know, but you didn't know what was really going on. And I never spoke about it. And this is my first time speaking about my illness on my platform. Because I'm not afraid no more. Because there's somebody that I'm going to inspire and help to get through their mental illness. Point blank, period. And a lot of conversations that I have had with females, I would never thought that would have the same sickness as me or as anybody else with mental illness and depression. You would be so surprised. Because it's the mask that we have to portray to hide all
depression
of that.
is hard.
I'm
man.
glad you
Very
brought
hard.
that up, because how I feel like in society, you know, it's a requirement for kids to go to the dentist and go to get your physical. How about we start making a requirement in school that they go see a therapist?
Or guidance counselor.
Or guidance
They're
counselor.
in the schools.
Right.
Like, go.
But anytime that you've seen your guidance counselor, it's only when you start having the behavior
Or the
problems.
problems.
When you start acting up.
Yeah.
Like, it's, to me personally, it's no help in school.
Right.
It's
Not
none.
to me.
It's none.
You might have certain teachers, but just overall, it's no real help in school. You know, to help you with that. And the thing, like you said, I looked at Charlamagne, but, you know what I'm saying, didn't know until you spoke out on it, but you couldn't even tell.
Couldn't tell. So, Tamaya, what are your thoughts on mental illness?
I think the other day I was thinking about it. A lot of people in the African American community, they go through this and they don't even know what it is. They don't understand the signs. They don't understand that it could be a reoccurring thing. It's not just a one-time thing. So you really have to, like, talk to people. And that's why I respect you for this podcast, because you're saying more. You're having a conversation. A lot of people won't even have the conversation. You know?
And I think that comes from because you know, we're always raised, don't tell my business.
Right.
And then
Or be quiet.
we were always, like, I'm going to give an example. When a lot of people like to put that stereotype on black women, we angry. But you know what? Talk to us and find out why we angry. And you know, one thing I started learning more about and seeing more things happening, a lot of women who are pregnant after they have their kids, they go through postpartum. And if you don't know how serious postpartum depression is, like, it's so serious to the point that some mothers may have thoughts of killing their own kids or themselves. So, and I also saw online, like, you know, some things to help mothers who go through that is having like a little potluck at their house after they have the baby. Yeah. You know, friends, if you're really like that woman's friend and she just had a baby, you know, cook a meal, bring it to the house, you know, or have a drop the baby party. Instead of baby showers after we have baby, have a drop the baby party, you know, because these women, you know, with FMLA, you go through 6 weeks and you're by yourself with a baby that you got to get to know, and that baby got to get to know you. Yeah. And then I don't have any children, but I can imagine how it feels when you have a crying child and you're trying to do everything you can to get them to stop crying and you don't know. I feel like as a mother, that has to be one of the most terrible things because you don't want your baby to suffer.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, one thing I can say with me, when my son was born, we was at the hospital for 4 days. I didn't leave the hospital not one day. Right. My homie Devin ended up popping up. He didn't even know I ain't even ate yet. I didn't even leave. Straight brought me food, took me to the crib to go get some new clothes. Like, I didn't leave, even after my son was born. Oh, I was at his mama's house every day. Right. You know what I'm saying? But like you were saying, you know, but even with black women, with that topic you said, the reason why it's extra hard for black women, for one, you're black. We already been having to fight so much just for rights. Right. We fought for that before we had to fight for rights for women. So having both being a black woman, that's already two things. We didn't even got over the black rights thing yet.
No, we haven't.
You know what I'm saying? So being a black woman is even extra tougher because you're black and you're a woman. You know what I'm saying? Men, when we black men, we got the system. You know, we already know all that, but we still can be out here and just. You know, whatever. Like, even with jobs, you know, it's a lot of women that are better for that position, but they don't get it because they're not a man. And see, that's another obstacle.
I'm glad you said that.
Y'all have to
I'm glad you said that, too.
Because there's a lot of African-American female entrepreneurs.
Yeah, we are killing it. We are killing it.
Reckless apparel. Let me tell you, Happy Tails.
And make sure y'all see what women want. Okay, with Taraji P. Henson. I can't wait to see that.
Shout out to my cousin Salon, Aqua Salon. But I wanted to say something about that because it goes back to Beyonce's song when she said, "We really do run the world."
We run feminists who run the world.
That's that
we
Virgo.
can have these kids and get right back to business. Okay. You know, and we on the rise. Like, we're go-getters. Not saying that men aren't, but now it was one of those things that, you know, we were used to our men being the prize, but you was like, you know what, baby? I'm going to add to that, you know? I'm going to add to that.
I commend you so much, Seti, for this. It's not even
this
funny.
This is a man's world.
I know.
Don't come in now.
I was raised by a single mother. Well, not even my mother she was a single mother, but I was raised in the house of 3 women. My grandmother, my mom, and my aunt.
Tamaya, tell me how was dealing with depression and mental illness?
When I first realized that it was I was in an abusive relationship. So breaking up, you know, is always hard. But when you're like a grown adult and you're going through this and you're just like, why am I going through this? You just ask questions, why? And then you realize, in being in an abusive relationship, you don't think that you have a way to get out. And some women, they stay. And I'm thankful that I'm still alive. You see what I'm saying? Because I had to get out of that. I mean, I knew that it wasn't for me, and that's not what God wanted for me. So I knew I had to make a change. So what I did is I prayed. And that really helped me get out of it. And I had to become one with myself. I had to actually figure out who I was because I had no idea who I was in that relationship. But once I got out of the relationship, that's when I found myself. So that's really what made me go hard about, you know, the modeling and the acting. And that's probably why I go so hard, periods, because I don't want anyone to waste my time, or that time that I gave to someone, you know, it wasn't appreciated. So now I'm going to spend all my time on me. And it's like, once you find that self-love, you will never go back. You will never love someone as much as you love yourself. You can never love someone as much as you love yourself. So it's like you have to put yourself first all the time. If you're not well, you can't be healthy or be there for somebody else. So it's kind of like a realization. You have to check yourself multiple times throughout your life. And now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize that.
Quick question. With you dealing with that, was it known or was it hidden?
It was hidden. Like most people did not know.
Yeah.
And
I definitely
women,
Because even with you telling
Yeah.
us, I didn't think that's what you was gonna say.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people don't know, and that's
Yeah.
why I'm actually surprised that I have the confidence now to talk about it. But I didn't know about it until other women started coming forth, and I was like, dang, I went through that too. You know, I went to a seminar with Miss Bianca Charday, and that's when she actually just showed me like I really need to have my own voice. So that's why I like being a part of this podcast, Say More, because we're actually having a conversation, and we're like, look how young we are. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people are not doing this right now. So
No.
we have to give each other the respect, the floor to say what we have to say. Say more. Don't say less. Speak up. It's 2019. You know?
Right.
Most definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, start that dialogue in the household. It always starts in the household.
That is
Yeah, it is. It does.
I know one thing that I say that once I become a mother, one thing I want to do is bring back those family meetings. You know, like start asking your kids at the dinner table, you know, how was school? How's everything going? It's things like that. Stay on top of things, but also why I say do family meetings, because let your kids express themselves to you. Not saying that you have to be their friend, but if you allow them to really tell you how you feel, you can be on top of things. This is how you make sure that they're not going to want to commit suicide or anything, because as you can see, the age for kids commit suicide is getting younger and younger. And I just think that, you know, that's one of the things that we should start bringing back into our households, is having family meetings, letting our children be able to express themselves, be able to have, you know, those talks with parents and feel comfortable, not feel like they're going to get in trouble. If your child is upset with you, let them tell you that they're upset with you. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
And I think if we start that, it will help with, you know, tackling mental issues.
That's one thing I do with my son. I tell him, you can tell me anything. I don't care what it is. Your daddy got you. Just tell me. I don't care what it is. They had one time with him experiencing a bullying situation, and he couldn't handle the situation.
Right.
And I honestly didn't know what to tell him to handle it, but I just told him, I was like, you know, just walk off. You know, if they still mess with you after that, go tell the teacher. Teacher don't do nothing, you know, and that's, you know, on a whole nother subject, you know, but that's one thing I teach my son with dealing with bullying and just any of that, bro, just walk off, man.
All right. This is going to be the first time I open up about my mental illness. It started 2 years ago, and a lot of it has to do with the men that I chose to be in relationships with. And I used to buy my relationships, and I was always the type of female that was acting like I was a wife instead of the girlfriend, and the one that was always more interested in that individual than that individual was interested in me. And my depression started with my ex. It's crazy. I was with him for 2.5 years, and I thought, you know, when you think you're in love, but it really is, you wasn't really in love, man. I'm gonna be totally honest. And you know, a situation happened. Oh God. Situation happened. I had an abortion, and he broke up with me. Broke up with me and got back with me, and only got back with me to really hurt me even more for what I was doing. And, you know, the whole time I'm thinking he was coming back, getting back with me because, you know what I'm saying, he wanted to make things work and everything like that. And ever since then, I ain't been right. I'm not even going to be sit up here honest. I haven't been right, because the whole time I was played. And he finally, when he broke up with me, I'll never forget, he said this to me. He said, the only reason being why I took you back is to get back at you for what you did. And that right there made me feel like that is the reason being why I was never good enough. He made me feel like I was not good enough at all because of the decision I made that I felt was right for the both of us. And I haven't been right ever since. And I wasted time, like she said, in her last relationship, giving my time to that person that I didn't even go pursue my dreams. Mm-hmm. I just went into corporate America, going to work, doing the same thing every day, pretending that I liked it, but I really didn't because it wasn't my dream, it wasn't my goal. So I had to check myself and be single. And by me being single, it was just going to work, going home, going to work, going home. That still was not the best solution. But it taught me how to be alone and be by myself. Mm-hmm. That's the benefit I got out of it. But it was not the best thing at all because I didn't know what was wrong with me. And that's when I knew I was suffering depression. And then that's when Tamaya came in my life and we started Carolina Queens. Even when I started Carolina Queens, I still was suffering depression. She didn't know at all. Wasn't doing right on my job. I just felt like my life, I wasn't where I wanted to be. And when she came, we started doing all these events. I was getting happy. I was starting to really figure out, like, what I really wanted to do because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know myself at all. I was being something that I wasn't when I was in that relationship with that individual. The whole time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But being with her, doing these events, meeting these women, her teaching me how to network, that's when I started building the confidence. But it was still, the depression still was still there. And I just, I was lonely. Like, I would smile out in public, but then I'll go home and pay for it so bad. Mm-hmm. I would pay for it. And it was the worst. Because I didn't know what was wrong with me. I just thought I was just a mean, not happy person. Mm-hmm. It was depression. So I knew my dreams. I knew I had to follow my dreams. I prayed every night. I was like, Lord, I really want to pursue my dreams. I really want to pursue my dreams. Something come, because I don't want to be stuck doing retail management forever. This is not what I want to do. Something got to shake. Something got to give. And Tamaya always would send me scriptures. And I started going to the Church of Columbia. Yeah,
I don't want to cut you off, but it's like I kind of knew something was bothering you. I didn't know what it was, and I was like, you're my friend, and I can't tell you how to change and do this because I already knew what you was going through. I'm just like, the only thing I can think of is to bring God in your life. So I brought her to church with me, and it literally just shifted everything that we've been going through.
A 360.
One thing, like, everybody know it. If you don't know it, you about to know it now. God ain't going to put you through nothing you can't overcome.
Mm-hmm. Right.
God gonna put them right people in your life to help you overcome that. Cause even though you felt, the way you felt about yourself, it felt like you wasted time. But the thing is, that man that does get you, he gonna get the best of you. I promise you that.
Preach. Yeah, and I just started going to church. I would get scriptures. I started meditating. And then God did something so amazing for me and brought an individual in my life that was going through the same thing. And then one day I met up with that individual and me and him was just talking because I didn't know he was dealing with it. Mm-hmm. He definitely didn't know I was dealing with it because he would see me on social media laughing, Snapchat and all that stuff because that all behind that was a mask. Mm-hmm. Then one day I met up with that individual. He just let me vent. And I let him vent. And come to find out we have the same thing in common. He became my best friend. And then as time kept progressing, the depression started getting very mild, very, very, very mild. So it was the same for that individual too. And it's just so much how me and that person came together and just was able to, tag team and become a team. not just, you know, for what we can do, for what we do as far as in our occupations, but to help each other with our illness. And my dreams came true because I didn't cut corners. I continued to do the research. I continued to work hard.
You believed.
I believed. I kept praying every night. God, please, I just want my dreams to come true. I just want my dreams to come true. Please give me something. Because, my last job that I had for those 8 months was hell. Then that's when things started twisting around for me. And I started, you know what I'm saying, bettering myself and started finding myself more. And I saw a big transition in myself. And I just want to say thank you to Tamaya and X. Thank you.
No problem.
Just know your dreams ain't done.
You my sister. I'm not even gonna lie, Sylvia, because
Joe Black too. Thank you,
know,
because like, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for them. And you know,
and I want to thank y'all too, because at that time she was going through that, I wasn't there for my sister. We were actually going through our own personal issues with each other. I was going through with her and our mother, to where, you know, I have a lot of pride. And when it finally got to the point where we actually sat down and talked and she disclosed that information to me, you know, I cried too, because I felt like as a big sister, I failed her. I let my feelings get in the way of, you know, having so much pride that I didn't, you know, check on my sister. And when she disclosed that, I literally cried and I said, I feel like I failed you. I said, I'm so mad at myself for not being there. But, you know, I want to thank you, and I want to thank you, X and Tamaya, for, you know, replacing me in that time. And I hope that if you ever go through that again, which I hope you don't, Sylvia, that, you know, I'm right there to be there for you. You know, we've always grown up to be at the hip, and I want to continue to be that for you. It's not easy, but never again will I allow my pride get in the way of being there for you.
I respect that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to happen
Yeah.
too, because, you know, she explained to me, you know, you guys were not going through like good times, and I'm like, you know, as much as I'm her friend, you know, she's like my sister. You know, we do a lot of stuff together. So when me and her actually start opening up to each other, Sylvia didn't know that I had an abortion too. She didn't know none of that. Nobody knew none of that stuff. You really never know what nobody is ever going through. So that's why you got to have these conversations with people. You can't be scared to open your mouth and tell somebody what you're going through. Your testimony is supposed to be another testimony to help somebody. So we all growing together.
yeah.
Most definitely.
And I'm just so thankful for you guys for like opening up and really just like saying more and just being true to who you are. I hate to end this episode because this is probably the realest that it's going to get. This is
Most
just
definitely.
the beginning. And if I don't tell you guys enough at this table, thank you guys so much for being a part of this platform with me.
Thank you for letting me be on here.
Yes.
Thank you, for real, for real.
Yes. So tell everybody where they can find you at. So tomorrow we're going to start off on you.
On social media, you can find me at Maya Baya on Instagram. Tamaya Allen on Facebook, Tamaya Allen Photography. If you guys want to get your pictures in, Carolina Queens, South Carolina Queens, me and Sylvia.
Gang, gang.
Right? Gang, gang, gang. Yes, it's Sylvia Darlene at Sylvia_Darlene. And you better download that iHeartRadio app, because I'm on Monday through Friday, 10 to 3, Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 6. Let's go.
And y'all don't laugh at my Instagram name. I know it's a little childish. But it's Purdy Kitty. It's PURRTYKITTY on Instagram.
Look at Sadie.
Well, you know where you can find me at on Instagram. It's SetiB_. Snapchat SetiB, Seti_B. You know, and shout out to my Patriots. It's a Super Bowl, baby.
It's the lover man.
I'm just looking forward to the chips.
I'm looking for the halftime show.
Yo, where them
And the
wings at?
commercials. The commercials.
Cardi B, Pepsi. Oh my God, I'm on it. Yes, that's right.
She's not performing. in the
She's
Super
not
Bowl.
performing.
Pepsi, the Pepsi commercial, y'all. I said she was gonna be in a Pepsi commercial.
Oh,
Okay.
That's
Okay.
Travis Scott.
My favorite sisters,
Maroon
Chloe,
5, I think it is,
Chloe and Holly performing. Look,
and Big Boy
man, what the world going through?
from Outkast.
Nah, man, nobody should be performing.
Hey,
Hey,
tune in next week.
but Travis Scott making they making the NFL No, he said on contract they had to donate a whole bunch of money to a certain charity.
I hope it's the Kaepernick's charity.
Kaepernick.
He's not for it, so yeah. Whatever his name, you know what I mean.
Kaepernick.
Take a knee.
You damn right. Kaepernick.
Yeah,
Black Lives Matter, baby.
Yeah, but tune in next week. Say More podcast every week, every Sunday.
Patriots.
Right.
Big Draco Brady.
He don't speak no either.
Anchor, podcaster.
Podcast, Apple, Spotify,
Spotify.
SoundCloud. You know what it be like, y'all, right? Right?
No.
Goodbye.
Mental illness and depression is a serious issue that requires a serious discussion between friends, family, and loved ones.
If you know anybody dealing with mental illness or depression, don't hesitate to reach out. We are the Say More Podcast.